something that has changed my life and has, I believe, changed other people's lives. And this is it. Can you see it? They're AirPods. AirPods are, as you may know, small headphones that you wear around that are wireless. And I find it so much easier to walk or even sit and listen to podcasts and audio books and so on wearing AirPods. There is only one problem with these AirPods. And the problem is they're very easy to lose. I come home and I know they exist somewhere in my house, but I have a really hard time finding them. And until they put some kind of AirPod tracker, I'm going to lose them again and again. And you would be amazed how long I spend looking for this tiny white box. Now, I am the kind of person who loses things. I think there are probably two kinds of people, those who lose things and those who don't. But I am the kind of person who loses things. I lose keys and so on. Eventually they turn up. I'm always losing one sock in the laundry. I don't know where that single sock goes, but it is clear to me that there is a one sock invisible monster who comes into my laundry, takes one sock and disappears with it. And sometimes I must say that sock never reappears. But I learned a different way of looking at all this from the wonderful poem of Elizabeth Bishop. It's a poem called The Art of Losing Isn't Hard to Master. The art of losing isn't hard to master. She goes on to say, so many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day. That's her advice. Accept the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. And so far, everyone understands what she's saying. You lose your AirPods, you lose your keys. You can't find something almost every day. But then she extends it. She says, lose farther, lose faster, places, names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. And all of a sudden, you start to expand the thoughts of the losses in your life. The loss of childhood, of places where you once lived and live no more, of neighborhoods that have either changed so much that you've lost them because they exist only in hazy memory, or in fact are places that you will never go back to. Sometimes you lose other people's childhoods, like those of us who remember when our children were young, and now that toddler is no longer a toddler. All of these losses are part of the reality of living. To live in some sense is to lose. That's not all, of course, that living is, but we realize over the years that Bishop is right. The art of losing isn't hard to master. We do it every single day. How much of the day that we spend do we lose? A wasted hour, she says, the hour badly spent. But not only that, things that we don't remember anymore. If you ask me what I did yesterday, already at least half of it is lost to my memory. The art of losing isn't hard to master. We are experts at losing. We do it all the time, every day. We are virtuosos of loss. But of course, today is Yizkor. And the reality is that there are losses and there are losses. It won't surprise you, I'm sure, even if you've never read the poem, that at the end of the poem, she talks about losing you. This poem is addressed to someone. And she said, it might look like, but it isn't really a disaster. But of course, she's acknowledging even with the sly irony of the poet who wants to appear strong and resolute, that losing a person isn't like losing an AirPod. The keys are replaceable. But losing things that are not replaceable is a different kind of loss. And the most irreplaceable thing in our lives is one another. If you ask people at this time, this bizarre and surreal time in history, what is it that we are losing? Yes, they'll say we are losing a certain amount of reality in our lives, being outside, being able to do certain things that we might otherwise enjoy and love doing, but really the essence of the loss is one another. And the Yizkor moment is a kind of weird Yizkor for the world. Because right now, even though we may see each other through technology and speak to each other on the phone, the art of losing is hard to master. The poet isn't exactly right. In cases like this, it is hard to master. It is not easy. And those of us who have lost people in our lives that we love, we know that this is true. Because what the world is going through now is, in some way, a kind of funhouse mirror image of what it is to lose someone. And those who are going through the genuine loss of somebody they love right now, how strange and sad it is that even the practices of mourning are being distorted by the situation that we find ourselves in. So today is a different sort of Yizkor. It's one in which we don't only mourn for those we have lost, but there is in all of us a little bit of mourning for that which we are losing, for that which we have lost, that which for an unforeseen amount of time in the future, we will continue to lose. We will do it. We will manage. The art of losing is possible to master, but it isn't easy. And so we draw in part on the strength inside us that has been given us by those who are no longer here. And this year's Yizkor is a little bit for them and a little bit for ourselves. For everything that we have lost, both the individuals we have lost, the connections we have lost, the time we have lost. And we pray that the strength that was given to us by those we have loved, the power that we found in ourselves through loving them, will help us endure in these days of loss. The art of losing, it's hard to master. The art of coping isn't easy to do. But through faith and through love, it can be done. We begin now with the Yizkor service, reading together on page 330 in your Siddur. Page 330, we recall. Some of us recall parents who gave us life, who cared for us and nurtured us and taught us to take our first steps on our own. Some of us remember a wife, a husband, a partner, a friend, a lover with whom we shared so much of our lives, our failures and achievements, joys and sorrows, intimate secrets. Some of us recall brothers and sisters who matured together with us, sometimes competing with us and sometimes encouraging us on, bound by a lifelong relationship. Some of us remember children entrusted to us too briefly, to whom we gave our loving care and from whom we received the trust that enriched our lives. Their memory is always with us. Many of us recall relatives who knew us, teachers who affected us, beloved friends who walked beside us in life, guiding us, listening to us, supporting us. Our lives are shaped by those who were alongside us as we walked on our path. May our inheritance impel us to strive to live lives of holiness and service. May memories of love inspire us to love. May painful memories impel us to mitigate the pain others experience. And may we be granted the strength to affirm life's meaning, even in the face of death. Shiviti.